Good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to have a woman by the name of Rachel Cyprien. She's going to come on with us in just a few minutes, and we're going to discuss deed theft. If you've been following me online, you've seen me posting consistently about Stop Deed Theft. So Stop Deed Theft is a movement that actually has been going on for a long time. The deed theft movement, or the deed theft fight, more than a movement, the deed theft fight has been going on for a while now. And so what we're trying to do is bring awareness to the nation about deed theft and what that is. What we have found is that in New York City, which is where I am based, there is a deed theft crisis that is happening. The crisis surrounding deed theft has everything to do with the stealing of Black generational wealth. Some months back, I was meeting with Charles Barron, some people from my labor organization, Stronger Together. And while we were having our meeting, a group of people walked in, and their issue was deed theft. So we started, listening to what this particular population had to say and what was going on with them, and to see how we could assist them in their fight. What was really troubling was that the people who were being impacted by deed theft were seniors. There was the older population, and they were losing their homes by way of being forced into guardianships. They were losing their homes due to old age, people coming and knocking on their doors and befriending them and making them feel as if they can trust them. And those meetings turning into where they ultimately would, by fraud, often sign away their homes. Well, today, Miss Rachel Cyprien is going to come on, and we're going to hear her talk about her story and what happened to her and her family as it relates to deed theft. And this is something that everyone should be aware of, whether you're a homeowner now or not, especially if you are Black or Latino or are from any immigrant community. If you are disabled, it affects everyone. We do not see this happen in the white community too often. When you go and look at the numbers, it is overwhelmingly Black people and Latinos in the immigrant community that are being impacted by deed theft the most. And so we want to make sure that everyone understands that deed theft is a crime, and also how to protect yourself and your family. That is highly important, that you understand how to protect yourself and your family. And so while we wait for Ms. Cyprien to come on, I just want to talk about some things that are happening in New York. So you just saw a man named Fillmore Brown. It was all over the press. We actually went and crashed the press conference on Friday, the Stop Deed Theft Coalition, which if you look on the ticker, it tells you how you can get involved, how you can join the movement. Just go to Stop Deed Theft. You can follow us on Facebook at Stop Deed Theft, or on IG, Instagram at Stop Deed Theft. If you go to the website, you can sign up for our newsletter and to become a part of the community, right? And so Mr. Fillmore Brown was a victim of this past lien sale. He received in the middle of the night, he was home in his bed, and on his cameras, he saw, and then he heard someone messing with his door. So he went and checked his door, and after he checked his door, what he found was that when he checked his door, what he found was some people breaking into his home. Well, they called the cops, and when the cops arrived, they basically informed him that these people were showing paperwork that they were the owners. Confused, not knowing what was going on, he contacted an attorney, got them involved, Miss Yolene Nicholson, one of the attorneys that fights deed theft and has been in this fight for years. She's also featured in the documentary Slum Lord Millionaire, where she's giving testimony about what the very things that we'll be discussing today. And one of the things Ms. Nicholson says, one of the things that Mr. Brown made very clear was that he had no idea that there was anything going on with his home. What he found out was that he was in fact on the lien sale list. Now, earlier, if you follow us or you follow me online, you heard me talking about there was a hearing or a town hall at Restoration Plaza where Reynoso, who is the borough president, was informing people that the lien sale and auctions were back. And that they were back without notice. And so his town hall was to let whoever was in attendance know. However, there was no real public push. People like myself, other advocacy groups got involved and started doing the footwork on the ground to try to make sure that people were made aware of what was going on. And so in the process of that, Mr. Brown actually was on the list, unbeknownst to him. Well, in 2019, when we were at the height, the fraudsters who stole his home said that they had served him notice that there was a default judgment and that he had to answer it in court. However, we were all social distancing around that time due to COVID. And he was never served and he was never given notice as to what was happening. However, they were still able to go ahead, foreclose on a property that was already 100% paid off due to this bill that he knew nothing about. The records indicate that he had never missed a payment. He had always been on time. He had paid off his home. So this was an individual who paid all his bills on time, worked 10 years straight, to pay off his home and only to have it stolen from him by way of deed theft. But Mr. Brown's story is the story of many, right? And so this Friday we rallied with Mr. Brown. We let him know that the community supported him to let him understand what was going on and what was happening to him, that he wasn't alone. This was that happens to people. I just want you all to be aware and to understand that we have a problem in Brooklyn, New York, and throughout the country. And states like Georgia, they have issued fraud alert warnings. And also down in Maryland, there's a lot of movement happening around deed theft. And now in New York, thanks to the Stop Deed Theft Coalition, there is a lot of movement around it. One of our coalition members is featured in the documentary Slum Lord Millionaire. And so if you get a chance, go look at that video, because it's very important that you see that video. And so with that being, give me a second. I think our guest is having a little problem. I'm going to check in with our guest to see if everything is okay. Okay, so our guest said that they'll be on in a second. So I really want you all to just understand about I want you all to understand what is at stake and how to protect yourself. So please make sure you follow us on Instagram, that you're following us on Facebook, that you subscribe to us so that you can be, that you can get alerts when we are live. If you have any questions or concerns, someone will contact you if you leave messages. We have a very vibrant community. Every Wednesday, we are in front of the DA's office at 350 J Street demanding that DA Gonzalez meet with the victims of deed theft, that he start to prosecute and stop selective enforcement. Selective enforcement is a real problem, and it's something that we are really, really fighting and pushing to get something done about. So we want you to all to know, the public to know, that we are here. You may know someone who was a victim of deed theft or deed fraud, or someone who has a commercial property that is currently being contested or has been stolen. This is something that happens all the time. We are on it. We are fighting it. However, we need the public to get involved. In the days to come, you'll hear more and more from us about deed theft and all of the issues surrounding deed theft. So just be aware, stay engaged, stay informed, and let me check back with our guests to make sure that they're ready to go. Give us a second. We're having a little technical difficulty. Enter studio. Hold on. Your camera's not on. Killed us. Sorry about this. We're just gonna pivot because this is too important for us to miss. Mm-hmm. So, good afternoon, Rachel. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No worries.
But let's just jump right into it because our audience is waiting.
Sorry, audience.
They want to understand everything that is going on with you and how deed theft has affected or impacted your life.
Well, I can tell you that deed theft is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. When you've worked hard and you've purchased your home and you've made plans for yourself and your family, and some unscrupulous set of people want to come in and just disturb your life in every which way possible. And we know that housing rights, where you sleep, where you rest your head, is a human right.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that disturbed, it is unimaginable. You can't even talk about it. You can't even think about it. It's just horrible.
So, Rachel, let's get into your story. Can you share with the audience a bit about your upbringing and what home ownership meant to you and your family?
Okay, my parents came here from Haiti, from the slave ships of Africa to Haiti to Brooklyn. They left Haiti in the early 70s and, was escaping the atrocities that were happening in Haiti back then. And my father was in his 40s, early 40s, and my mother was in her 30s. So they were older people. And I suspect they came here with nothing but a bag. And they came and they made a life for themselves. My sister and I were not even born yet, but they knew that the direction the country was going in, it was not going to be good for them or any future children that they may have. So they took everything and they came here and started a life here. Then my sister and I were born, and we've been here, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. And my parents and I, my father and I, we purchased our home in 1997. And it was a huge, huge accomplishment and something that was supposed to be, supposed to take us further and further.
Okay, how did you come? So your family, your father bought the home in what year did you say?
1997.
In 1997, you purchased the home, and this represented what did this represent for your family?
It represented safety, security. We were investing in our future. We were investing in our future. We bought a 2-family home with a basement, a driveway, and a yard. Everything we knew we'd need as a family. That when my parents passed on, my sister and I would be able to stay there and grow there, and our children would be able to take it over. And that has not been the case.
What were some of the proudest moments that you and your family had in the home before the legal troubles hit?
Everything. We celebrated everything, their birthdays, holidays, we even celebrated or bonded together during hard times, like when my mom passed away and when my dad passed away and when my neighbors rallied around us. Our neighbors have become family. And even when I got sick during COVID, how my neighbors came through for me was everything, is everything.
When did you first realize something was wrong with your property records?
Okay. When I first realized something was wrong with my property records was in 2000, I want to say in 2009, 2010, I went to the DA's office and spoke to them and told them I was having a problem.
Can you walk us through the series of events that led to your home being targeted? What happened that made you have to go to the DA's office? What were those events? What led up to that?
Okay. In 2002, my mother passed away, and my mother was the matriarch of the family. She was the glue that held us together.
Yeah.
And it was very, very, very hard. It was difficult. It was a difficult time for us, the whole family. And I'm the oldest child, and I was supposed to be the one. I felt I had to be the one to hold the family together, even though I was falling apart myself.
Right.
I'd been in an abusive relationship for over a decade.
Mhm.
That ended. I had a daughter. I have a daughter, an older daughter, and she was going through puberty, and I didn't really know how to handle that.
Mhm.
And truth be told, my mother was really her mom, to be honest. And the breakup, all of that was just, it was a lot for me at one time. Then I met a career criminal. And
well, did you know he was a career criminal?
I did not know he was a career criminal. Everyone in the Haitian community knows that Yves S. Bernard, aka Glasses, is a career criminal, but I didn't know that he was a career criminal. And he befriended me and pretended like he cared and everything. It was very brief. It was a brief relationship because immediately, I could detect that there were things wrong with him, constantly asking for money. And he's one of these people that's always robbing Peter to pay Paul. And he latched onto me because he could sense that something was wrong. And I confided in him that I was having a problem.
Right.
And he said, "Don't worry, I got you. I can help you." And he took me to an attorney. And I just thought I was doing a mortgage modification, and it turned out to be everything but a mortgage modification.
Wow.
And immediately I sensed something was wrong. And that's when I went to the DA's office. And they were like, there was nothing they could do, or they wouldn't even take the case. They didn't even take the case. It was just like, there was nothing.
And what was their reason for not taking the case?
They just said they weren't going to do it. They didn't give a reason.
Okay. Is this something? So I know that you're a part of the Black Homeowners Preservation Coalition. And you are a part of the Stop D Theft movement.
Correct.
Is this something that you all see in the coalition a lot, that the DA's office?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've been fighting for my home now for 15 years. And it wasn't until, I want to say a year and a half ago, about a year and a half ago, I ran as a career criminal, and I just lashed out at him. Then he proceeds to send a letter to my tenant and tell my tenant that I was not the...
Wait, you're getting ahead. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to focus on the DA for a minute.
Okay, so right.
So because the DA, you went to the DA and told them, so what actually happened with the transaction that made you have to go to the DA? What did you learn about when you were doing the mortgage modification?
Correct. So I thought.
Right. What happened with that modification?
Nothing felt right. Nothing felt right. And the fact that this career criminal came along with his friends, and came along with his friend, and afterwards, his friend's name was on my deed, and the mortgage payments had to be made to his friend. That threw me off. Right.
So what did you do when you saw that the mortgage payments were going to the friend? What did you do? Did you contact Mr. Bernard?
I didn't contact Mr. Bernard. Mr. Bernard took me to an attorney. I contacted the attorney.
Oh, okay.
Adrian Woolley.
And what did the attorney say?
He was like, because I made the payment. I paid the mortgage, the first mortgage payment, But I was confused because my mortgage payments were in, at that time, I think, a little over $2,000. So when this new thing came, it was like over $3,000. I was like, wait, we were doing a modification. How did we go from $2,000? We went up as opposed to going down. Right. And why is Franklin Etienne's name on my deed? And he was like, oh my God, you made the payment. You're not supposed to do that. Like, what's going on here? I don't know. And then I contacted Bernard, and he was like, oh God. And then, so nothing seemed right.
Okay.
And then, so that's when I went to the DA's office.
Right. So basically what you're telling us is that you went to make your payment as usual. And upon making the payment, you saw on the bill that someone else's name was on the bill, and you contact the attorney. The attorney tells you, oh no, you're not supposed to make the payment, somebody else is.
Right.
So you're trying to figure out how.
What happens? What happens?
Right.
And because I'm currently in litigation, so I can't go into too much with that. But
Okay.
I automatically and immediately knew that something was wrong.
Right. Okay.
And that's when the career criminal, Yves Bernard, said to me, don't worry. You're going to get your deed back. Everything's going to be fine. He kept telling me that everything's going to be fine. You know, Franklin's a good guy. He's not going to do you no harm. Like, look, I'm not comfortable with this. I don't even know what's going on right now, but I'm not comfortable with this.
So so how has this experience impacted you and your family?
Oh, it's been horrendous. Horrendous. This man, Yves Bernard, aka Glasses, they call him Glasses because he's cross-eyed and he wears glasses with shades to hide his cross-eyedness.
And Glasses is the person who said that they would get you to help.
He would get me help.
Okay.
And this is something he does all the time.
This is what you've learned.
This is what I've learned now. Because when I got into problems with him, and the problems I've had is that they've been extorting money from me. I was making mortgage payments, then I was getting letters was coming to the house from this so-called bank. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? I'm not making any more payments under Franklin Etienne's name. Give me back my deed and leave. Y'all go your way and I go my way. And they kept asking money. Bernard kept arranging, wanting me to pay him $10,000 and you'll get your deed back. But you got to give money. And it just got so... Right. So the fraud... I get it. Yeah, the fraud kept going on and on and on and on. And he kept coming to me every time I feel like he was broke. He would come to me and ask me for money. And again, because I'm in litigation, I'm not going to get into it. But in 2019, he, begged me to lend him some money. And I really did not feel comfortable lending him money. But it was kind of, I'm the one who... Was this before the transaction? No, this is well after the transaction. This is 2014. This happened in like 2008, 29, because I went to the DA's office in 2009, 2010. And he begged me to lend him money and that he promised he would get Franklin to give me back my deed. And against my better judgment, I loaned him $14,000, a little over $14,000. And he refused to pay. Alonda, you cannot do that now, please. You see what we're doing. Okay. So in 2014, in 2019, he asked to borrow some money and I loaned him the money. And when it was time to repay, it was sheer hell. I had to go to several people in the Haitian community and people reached out to him like, you have to repay this woman back her money. Right. She's a single Black woman. She's got a child. She's taking care of her child. You got to repay this money. What's the problem? And so I had to go onto like Haitian media, social site. So you reached out to journalists to help you, to see anybody who could see what was going on. Anyone who would help me get this man to give me back my money. And because I was sick of the constant extortion, if you will, right? And I loaned him the money and he refused to pay. And I had to go through all these to get my money back. And when he finally did repay me, within a week, he set my car on fire. Wow. So this has been an ongoing situation. How has law enforcement played a role? Have you tried to report these crimes against you to law enforcement? What has that been? Great question. I've tried I went to the DA's office. I went to the precinct. And again, this guy, and he's Haitian. And I think he's a citizen. I don't know if his immigration papers or if it's in order. But I went to the police and he has friends, Haitian officers in the 69th precinct. And a lot of things, I found out a lot of things. So he has got friends in the in the 69th precinct, Haitian officers who are criminals themselves. And no investigation was done because I can't fathom. I try to wrap wait, you call the police. The police came, of course. And then what happened when the police came to your home? They came, they were very nonchalant. They took a report. I was furious. My daughter and I was sleeping in my house. If it were not for my neighbor, I parked my car. My car is faced away from the facing to drive out. So he set the car on fire. And He didn't do it himself. He sent someone to do it. And I just, every time I think about, like, had the fire gone closer to my windows, caught on my curtains, and these are attached homes, like everybody's home would have been affected, right? And so to think in 2019, when there's cameras everywhere, I didn't have cameras. I don't have cameras. So the police, you would have thought, would have knocked on neighbors' doors, would have gone to the corner store, would ask questions. No investigation was done.
Right. So fast forward to today. There's been no investigation about the car being on fire.
Nope. My daughter and I being sexually.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
How has, with the fact that they didn't investigate that, here we are now, 2025. How is life treating you, and how are you faring 15 years almost into this battle for your property? How is everything going?
It is not going well. I am in landlord-tenant court, where I do not belong in landlord-tenant court.
How did you find yourself in landlord-tenant court? What happened?
Because the straw buyer, the person who says he purchased my home, is saying that he wants his unit back. He wants the apartment back. He wants me out of his house. He's never lived there. Not to say that if you purchase a house that you have to live there. He's never collected a dime in rent from me, because we don't have that relationship. It was never his house. Right.
So one of the things that happens when it comes to deed theft is that the person that steals your home then treats you as if you're a tenant.
Correct.
And they go to landlord-tenant court. Is that the way they try to get possession of the property?
That's the way they try to get possession. That's just another form of harassment and just to wear you down. And then we then took it to Supreme Court.
What happened? No, let's stay in landlord-tenant court for a second. What happened in landlord-tenant court when you went? What did the judge say?
Okay, this was in 2012. I started a case in the Supreme Court, and because we were in the Supreme Court, there was nothing he could do. And the case has been lingering on and on and on and on forever, because I can't understand why I am still in court.
What did the judge in landlord-tenant court say?
Oh, just recently, when he told the tenant upstairs that I was not the rightful owner, and he gained possession of my home. And so now he took me to court. That case was dismissed. I went pro se, he went pro se, and the judge determined that he was not the rightful owner of the home.
So wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that the judge in landlord-tenant court said that he was not the rightful owner? However, you're still dealing with this, and the DA still wouldn't get involved, even with this on the record?
No, won't do a thing about it. And this is how it was starting. It was by me going to meetings and meetings and meetings, because I did what a lot of victims do. I was suffering in silence.
Right.
I was suffering in shame.
Right.
Because for the life of me, I can't understand how a college educated, a real estate broker could have gotten herself into this mess. And I didn't want to talk about it for years. But it wasn't until now they're throwing me out. Now, my daughter, my 11, she's 11 now, but she was in 2019, I can't remember, 5 or 6 years old, was sleeping, and you're setting cars on fire, and you're doing all the things that they're doing. I could no longer live in shame. I could no longer be quiet. I could no longer keep this to myself. And in starting to talk to people, I found out this is a huge problem. And I am not the only person going through this. Even though each of our cases is different, every scenario is different, but yet the same still. We get no help from the DA's office. We get no help from NYPD. NYPD, as a matter of fact, in many of our cases, behave like domestic terrorists, and they terrorize us, the victims.
Let me ask you a question. Just recently, you were telling me before we did the interview that there was an incident where the police came and basically broke into your home and arrested you?
Oh, I've been arrested about 8 times. The worst, though, and I have a lawsuit with the city, is that this fraudster, the criminal, showed them that his name, he's the owner of the property. And he entered my home with the help of NYPD, completely illegal. No search warrant, no probable cause,
Right.
no emergency, changed the locks on my door, entered my home, threw my papers around, stole money. And I was beyond stunned, hurt, dehumanized, disgusted. That was it. And when I went to the precinct, I came home and found a note. I had just left the precinct.
Right.
To go and speak with the domestic violence unit.
Right.
Because I dated this guy and, he's been terrorizing me. And nothing. I filed many CCRB complaints. Nothing. The tenant they have upstairs in my home, I found out just got out of jail. And I don't know for what. Probably he's a sexual predator. Luke Paul, L-U-C Paul. And they followed myself and my daughter, him, his girlfriend, and some other people they had upstairs, and followed me around the corner. He exposed his penis and his rectum to me and my daughter. She was 10. She's 11 now.
Wow.
This is a year. I recently called. I'm calling to find out what's going on. The detective tells me, he asked me if I knew the person's name. I told him Luke Paul. He asked me how old he was. I said, I don't know his age.
Did the police take a report?
They took a report, and that was it. I called them on the scene. I took pictures of the police there. I took pictures of the man pulling down his pants and showing me his rectum and my daughter. Nothing was done. The detective, in fact, told me that he closed the case. The case was closed. Let
me ask you a question. How has this fight changed you as a person?
I'll tell you one thing. I'm realizing that I'm feeling like I am not a respected person in America, because I can't see this happening to an Italian woman or an Irish woman or a Jewish woman. Only a Black woman I could see this happening to. And it is really, really disheartening. But I stand on the shoulders of Harriet Tubman, Shirley Chisholm, the women that have paved and blazed the path before me. And I will not lay down like a helpless victim. I will fight for myself. I mean, I've reached out to the police commissioner to no avail via email. I've reached out to the DA's office, and I am really, really horrified that we have to stand in front of the DA's office every Wednesday and fight to demand that he meet with us. That is like really, really, really dehumanizing. That is unacceptable. We pay taxes. We are human.
Right.
And to not have that respected is really, really disgusting.
What reforms or actions do you believe are urgently needed to stop this epidemic?
We have to stay on top of these politicians. We have to stay on top of these so-called investors. These are not investors. These are parasites. These are thieves. These are criminals. And we have to stay on top of them and let them know. And as I said on Friday, when I went to Mr. Brown's home, Fillmore Brown at 227 East 89th Street, we are different. We're a new breed of Black people. We will not allow anyone to trample on our rights. Our ancestors fought too hard. When Malcolm X said that the most disrespected person in America is the Black person, is the Black woman, he never said a lie. Because I don't have a husband in that home, in my home, is the only reason that these officers can come into my home and do the things that they've done to me. I mean, I'm walking with a cane now. I am a vibrant woman. I practice yoga, I exercise all throughout COVID. I'm walking with a cane now. I'm seeing a therapist for my shoulder, because the other day when a heavy, heavy Haitian cop comes in screaming, illegal eviction, and threw his whole body weight on my left shoulder. Really disgusting. And of course the CCRB complaints and doing everything that I have to do. And as much as angry as I am, I'm going to stick with it. And this is my 15th year fighting for my home. I am determined to get my home back, and I am determined to make these people see and respect my humanity.
How can viewers support you and others who are fighting to get their homes back?
We need Black solidarity. We need Black people to come together. That's why when I heard what happened to Mr. Brown, I stopped everything I was doing. And of course, I'm a broker and I work for myself. I can do that. And I understand other people work, differently. And so we have to support each other. It's really got to be touch one, touch all. That's the only way they're going to get this message. We have to, Black people, we have to start to begin to be intentional with our dollars and make sure, because Fillmore Brown, he's a self-employed man. He has his own business and he managed to pay his home off and still be targeted.
What do you think about, can people contact you through your coalition?
Yes, they should contact me through my coalition. They should attend our meetings. If everyone could start calling and emailing the Brooklyn DA and ask what is going on here. Because today me, tomorrow you.
Right. So one of the things that that we were discussing this before, you were telling me, is that they have something going on down there by way of selective enforcement.
Oh yes. We believe that like I said, my ex-boyfriend, he's a career criminal. Yves, YVES, Steve Bernard, aka Glasses, is a career criminal. And they pay these police officers. There are many Black women in the coalition who've had the same experience that I've had with NYPD. NYPD, they do not behave the way they're supposed to behave. Whenever there's a case with a housing situation, they're supposed to simply tell people to take this to court. They cannot get involved, but they have, helped people, lock people out of their homes. We had, Carmela Sharrington at 212 Jefferson Avenue, and she has this on tape. The fraudsters came to her house, just like they did with Mr. Brown, changing locks. And she's there with her father, her elderly father, saying, no, you can't. And they're doing it. And the police are standing there and doing nothing in that instance, when it worked in the favor of the criminal. They did nothing.
Okay, so this was a really informative interview and discussion around, what you have been experiencing regarding theft. I want to ask you about your mental health. How do you feel this has impacted your mental health? How are you feeling? Are you getting any services? How are you doing?
I thank God for therapy. And this takes you through a roller coaster of emotions. And thank God for the coalition that I formed, and we've all been able to pretty much speak to each other and really lean on each other and understand that we're not alone. But it takes a toll on your mental health. It takes a toll on your sleeping, on your eating. I had lost so much weight, thank God, but it does a number on you. My hair fell out, was falling out. It is horrible, 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 horrible. After that man exposed himself to my daughter and myself, my daughter is now in a safe place. She's not even with me. That's something that's bothering me. And school's about to start in a few weeks. And I'm adamant about getting my daughter back home and, contacting ACS. And that's another thing they tried to do, get ACS involved on my side. Well, now that this man exposed his penis and his rectum to my daughter, nothing's being done about that. These police officers, NYPD, have not been good to anyone in my coalition. Almost everyone in the coalition has been arrested, which is really horrific. The criminals are free, and we feel that the NYPD and many people in the courtrooms are getting envelopes because nothing is working the way it should be working, or is working the way it should be working. And all this, and let me just say this before we end this. This is all by design. Theft is stealing Black generational wealth. Has a lot to do with gentrification. The career criminal has never worked. Franklin Etienne cannot prove that he bought money for my house. He did not buy my house. What they did do, though, was trick me into signing papers. And this is what they do to a lot of people. You go into these meetings and then you think one thing is happening.
Just walk us through that process.
Yes.
When you were dealing with the transaction of signing for what you thought was a loan modification, who was present in the room? Who was there?
I know
for this?
the Adrian Woolley, the attorney, who has since been disbarred. He was there. Bernard was there, the career criminal, Yves Bernard, glasses. He was there. Franklin Etienne was there. And when I got in the room,
was it only those three, or were there other people?
There were other people. There were some other people. There was some Jewish people with the curls on the side of their hair. And nothing felt good. Nothing felt right.
So you were nervous.
I was very nervous and very leery.
So what made you continue on? Was the attorney reassuring you that everything was
going to be okay? And then you've come this far, right? You're sitting at the table.
Right.
And so you think, and you're with an attorney. So you think that you are in good hands.
Right. So this attorney has since, you said, been disbarred.
He's since been disbarred.
Do you know why he was disbarred?
I don't know, but rumor has it in the Haitian community that he's done a lot of things that were not quote unquote kosher.
So that should also be something
that should be looked
into. As you're saying that your home was stolen and what happened, that the attorney involved was disbarred. Okay, so at the meeting, you had some people with curly hair. Who were they? What ethnicity?
They were Jewish.
Oh, they were Jewish people there. There were the three fraudsters, which is the attorney and glasses,
Franklin Etienne.
And so everyone's there at the table. How did they get your deed? What did they do?
They slide papers in. You're signing a plethora of papers. They just X them, signed by the X, signed by the X. And yes, hindsight is 20/20 vision, right? Everyone tells you to read before you sign, but you should see the documents. It's a lot of things to read, right? And if anyone's ever been to a closing, it's a lot of documents that you're signing. And the other thing that
where did this closing take place? It was in an office. In an office. So they actually brought you to an office.
Of course, yes. It was
so under the color of authority to make it famous. This was a real transaction.
Exactly.
And so they slipped the papers in, and then they just tell you what
to sign here, sign here, sign here.
Okay.
And I just want to also interject is that going forward right now, how I know I've been had, and what really infuriates me is all these politicians and politicians and the assembly people and any organization that's having a deed theft workshop, you come in and they tell you, if you go in the room and everyone's talking really fast and they're giving you a bunch of papers to sign, be careful. Everyone seems to know exactly what happened to us, but no one is doing anything to undo what has happened to us.
So you go to the DA's office, the same people that are holding these seminars.
Correct. Like the borough president.
And they're telling you everything that you've reported to them happened to you. However, they still refuse to prosecute.
Extremely good point. I'll give you a case. There's a man named Sanford Sony, SAND FORD, last name SOLNY. Sanford Sony. Disbarred attorney, also disbarred attorney, because they use their knowledge, their power to trick people. Sanford Sony stole over 200 homes from Black and brown people. Right. 200. He's collecting millions in rent on properties that do not belong to him. I sat down at the trial, and what really infuriated me was to hear an ADA, when he gave his closing statements, exactly what you just said. Everything I've reported to him and other people in the coalition talked about. He's saying exactly what we said happened to us. And he'll mention a victim's name. And this is what happened to this victim. You lured them in, and Sanford Sony lured them in and told them that he was going to do a loan modification. Unbeknownst to them, this is what happened. And I'm sitting there like, what? The other thing that really pissed me off and showed me how agencies have failed us. Agencies we pay money to take care, they take an oath to honor, to serve and protect people, like the Department of Finance. Sanford Sony gave papers in for shell companies. His EIN number was all 9. His His social security number was 999-999999. So wait a minute.
So you mean all of this, with all of this, you mean no one was made aware or alerted that something was wrong until now?
Sanford Sony defrauded so many people. I watched over 20 victims come in and testify. And as they were testifying, I went to, hey, Your Honor, Judge Shen, that's what happened to me too. That's what happened to me. And I want to say to the ADA, we sat at his office. A few of us we sat in the coalition, sat with that same ADA and told him this is what happened to us.
And they ignored
us.
This is why you're saying in the selective enforcement that everyone is
not treated fairly.
Right.
And
they often say that justice delayed is
justice denied.
Mm-hmm. And so as we close and we begin to wrap this up, what do you see? How do you see the future of this fight? What are you hopeful for?
I'm hoping that we all unite. I'm hoping to see that Black solidarity really takes to fruition and that we all come together and demand justice. Because like I said, today it's me, tomorrow it's you, or your children or your grandchildren. I am adamant that my house is going to be left for my 2 daughters and my nephew and my sister, if I should go first. I am adamant on getting my house back. I am prepared to sue this government because something has to happen. There was another woman in the coalition who got robbed of $300,000 cash at the closing table and other properties that she owns. And I am like, there's no way we can allow Tulsa again in Brooklyn in 2025.
Right.
We've come too far for this.
Right. Rachel, thank you so much for telling your story. Anyone who's listening to this, you can follow the Stop D Theft movement on Facebook at Stop D Theft, on Instagram at Stop D Theft. The website is www.stopdtheft.org. You can click on the links and just join the movement. Sign up for our newsletter, get involved, and please support the movement. On the website, you'll also see a donation link. We need you to donate, give money. It costs a lot to fight this fight. Every one of the D theft victims need funds to pay attorneys to litigate on their behalf. Without the public's donation, without your help, it is almost impossible for them to continue. So we just want to thank you for your time. Rachel, thank you again for everything. And we'll do this again. And thank you. Thank you to everyone for watching.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you. We'll find out how many people watch.